Hello people, hope you're doing good. Welcome back to another double review. We've got two movies to review today. A bit of a animals fighting each other theme going on in this video. Ironic. We're reviewing Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, and Kung Fu Panda 4, seeing as it's just released in the UK this week. Let's start off with Godzilla X Kong.
Welcome to my world.
Now this is probably going to be one of the shortest reviews ever on the channel, because this movie is exactly what I expected. Boring ass human characters, amazing visuals, and giant monsters fighting each other whilst causing billions of dollars worth of property damage in the process. It is exactly what you expect from a MonsterVerse film, and I was happy. I got to see Godzilla and Kong team up and fight another giant monkey, and there was loads of monster fighting all throughout the film. Brilliant visuals, CGI looked amazing, there were some beautiful shots, and I was happy. But I will say I kind of prefer Godzilla vs. Kong just a little bit more. I think that film is much better paced and it has a lot more of what we want, which is monsters fighting each other. I do think Godzilla X Kong does kind of slow down so many times and kind of drags on. And that's mainly when we're focusing on these boring ass human characters. I will say though, there is a bit of improvement with the humans. We do focus on the only mildly interesting human, which is that little girl who can communicate with Kong. She's literally the only human character I like, and she's given a lot more to do in this movie, which I really appreciated, and her moments were pretty cool. But when we're focusing on the other human characters, oh, this movie just drags on and on. And this movie is very stupid. It's more stupider than Godzilla vs. Kong. There are some really dumb moments, but they are cool. And the film is kind of self-aware enough to make it not take itself too seriously. Like Godzilla having a flipping infinity gauntlet on his hand and sends shockwaves with it. It's freaking cool. It's dumb. It's stupid. The way it comes about is really dumb. The Scar King, who was sick by the way, with his little whip whipping it around a building and using that building to like swing an axe into Kong. You know, it's just dumb stuff like that I really appreciate. But that's what I'm here for. I just want to see monsters dumb fights. Dumb monster fights. And I got that. So Godzilla X Kong, it's just going to get a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Because it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I was happy. So if you're a big fan of the MonsterVerse and you just like monsters fighting, then just go and see it. You'll enjoy it, honestly. Now let's get on to probably one of my most passionate reviews ever. Kung Fu Panda 4. Hello, Gibson from the future here. I realised that I forgot to say that spoiler warning for Kung Fu Panda 4 and parts of the first three films if you've somehow not watched them. So yeah, if you don't want spoilers, don't watch the spoiler review, watch the film to avoid the spoilers so you can watch the review. Anyway, enjoy if you're still watching. Skadoosh! Now, Kung Fu Panda. One of my favourite franchises of all time. I have been watching near enough everything this franchise has had to offer since I was about, like 4 years old. I'm 19 now. God, 15 years. I've been indulging in Kung Fu Panda media. I've watched all the films. I've watched some of those straight-to-DVD mini-movies like Secrets of the Furious 5 and the Masters one.
Monkey.
And I've even watched that Legends of Awesomeness show when I was younger. So when it was announced that Kung Fu Panda 4 was in development, excitement was an understatement. I could not have been more hyped for Kung Fu Panda 4. Very nervous, of course, that they'd mess it up, but optimistic. And then the trailer came out, and I was happy with it. I thought, yes, back with more Kung Fu Panda, this is going to be great. I'm so excited for this. And then the movie just came out this week in the UK. But before that, I saw the mixed reactions. But I saw that with 3. And I enjoy 3. It's my least favourite of the trilogy, but I still enjoy 3. But I went into 4, quite nervous, but optimistic. I came out, and I can sadly confirm that this is easily the worst of the franchise. And so far, Personally, my most disappointing movie of the year. Now, this movie's not awful. I don't think it's really, really bad. There's still some good stuff which I'm going to talk about. But it does affect the franchise in so many ways, and those ways are not good whatsoever. Not good at all. And I'll explain them later. But first, I want to be fair, I want to get into the stuff that I really like.
I'm sorry, brother. I thought you said you were ready.
That was awesome!
First of all, on a technical level, this movie is just absolutely gorgeous. This is apparently the least expensive Kung Fu Panda movie to make, and it looks like the most expensive. The animation is absolutely just beautiful. The way the characters pop out, I like how the backgrounds are like hand-drawn in a sense. This movie is just beautifully animated. The use of colours to like signify huge moments. It's just a really well animated movie. The way this movie is directed and shot is really nice too. There are some absolutely beautiful pieces of cinematography here. Just some eye-popping visuals. And I like the direction of the entire movie, but mainly with the action scenes. To me, it's like they took inspiration from sort of like Mortal Kombat. This is mainly with some things with the edits. How there's like these certain moments where you see Poe and the villain, and they clash together, and it's like a versus thing from Mortal Kombat. I don't know, it just looked like they took a lot of inspiration from the game. Don't know if they did, but if they did, that's pretty cool. But yeah, this movie is so well directed and shot, it's beautiful. And of course, I've always loved the music to Kung Fu Panda. There's that one soundtrack where wherever I hear it, I get pumped. I just want to see some brilliant Kung Fu. And it's back in this film again. The music's always a plus, it gets you ready for adventure. So the musical artists, they did a really good job. However, there was one technical aspect that I do want to get into quickly. And that's the audio mixing. At first I thought this was just my screening, but then I asked people online and apparently they had this problem as well. Whenever a character moved off screen, their dialogue just slowly faded away until you couldn't hear it at all. And then when they cut to the characters, it just magically happened again. It appeared. And as I said, at first I thought it was just my screening, but no, apparently many people have had this problem as well. So if that's the case and it's a reoccurring problem, that's kind of lazy on the audio mixer's part, really. But apart from the technical aspects, the voice acting was all really good. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised when I say that Jack Black is just perfect as Poe once again. When is he never? I'm not going to get into it because you know he's great. Some of the newcomers I really liked as well. Awkwafina as Zhen, the little wolf. Yeah, she was good. I thought she was really good. She has some good chemistry with Jack Black. She was a lot of fun with her character. And Viola Davis, with what she had, and trust me, she's not given a lot, but we'll get into that in a bit. She does a good job too. She does a good job as the villain, the Chameleon. And of course, you've got the returning voice actors for Shifu, Poe's fathers. They all do a great job, of course. They're always a lot of fun. So the voice acting, I physically have no problem with. I think all the actors did a really good job.
Master Tigress, didn't mean to wake you, just,
You don't belong here.
yeah, of course. This is your room.
I mean, you don't belong in the Jade Palace.
Now, let's get into the stuff that really, really annoyed me. Story and the writing. First of all, I don't mind this idea. In fact, I really like the idea. I like the story of Poe becoming the spiritual leader, bigger than the Dragon Warrior. And he has to choose a person to become the new Dragon Warrior. And we follow this person on an adventure and they become the new Dragon Warrior. That's a good idea. I like that idea. I've got no problem with that story whatsoever. I think it's a good direction to take the franchise. But unfortunately, they don't write that story well whatsoever. The reason is because the movie just doesn't make you care, even from the start. And I'll tell you why. The main reason is this movie is just devoid of tension and intrigue. That's because of two main factors. The tone of this movie and the way that the villain's written, really. Now, when I watched Kung Fu Panda 3, I did complain that I thought Kai was basically just a crappier rip-off of Tai Lung. Instead of having an agenda against Shifu, he's got an agenda against Oogway, and he has those swinging axes. Now, Kai's not a bad character. His theme song absolutely slaps, but I just couldn't really take away the similarities that this is basically Tai Lung, but he has an agenda against a different character. I don't know, it just didn't really grab me, really. Now, with the chameleon in the fourth film, she is basically a crappier rip-off of Shen from Kung Fu Panda 2. She has a similar motivation, a sort of similar backstory, but she has no big depth whatsoever. Shen works because he is a personal villain to Po, and he has that drive and motivation to keep him going. He feels like his parents disrespected him and felt like he wasn't worthy, so he decided to go very far to prove himself and earn the throne, not knowing that what he's doing is the cause of his own downfall.
They wronged me, and I will make it right.
They loved you. They loved you so much that having to send you away killed them.
But in small moments, you can still see that subtle moment of, maybe what I'm doing is wrong. And that's why I really think he's the best villain of the franchise. With the chameleon, she basically has the same backstory motivation. Oh, I was disrespected, and now I want to prove these people wrong by ruling China and Kung Fu. It's basically the same rip-off as Shen's motivation, but it's done so poorly. We never really know why she was disrespected, and that's mainly because the movie doesn't show us. This movie breaks the show don't tell rule so many times that it's just impossible to care, really. In the end, because she has no depth, she just becomes this very over-the-top villain. Now, I haven't got anything against that. She can be a very over-the-top villain who wants to rule China because she just wants power. That would work if you could make her menacing and you just went all into the campiness of her. But they don't do that. The most threatening thing she does for the first two acts is just kick a few guys down some stairs. It's not until the last act where she gets to Kung Fu where the movie has some sense of tension. But the chameleon is defeated so damn easily in the third act that there was just hardly any threat. And the thing is, they kept building up saying like, this is a fight Po cannot win. He will die if he fights her. But he just defeats her so easily. And they tried to like set it up with Zhen where, oh, she's now the new Dragon Warrior. She does the fancy move to kill her. But again, it just feels so cheap and not earned, really. What also doesn't help this movie feeling so unnecessary is the tone. I complained with 3 once again that 3 was just a bit too jokey, but the emotional moments that were in the film really hit, so I kind of let it off. With this film, they just went straight into campiness, laughy, jokey mode. And they never really take time to put some really serious moments in there. The first 2 films do a good job at balancing humour and darker tone really well. And it makes the story really interesting while still having some good kiddie heart in there. With this film, it just feels like a movie made for 4-year-olds and that's it. It's just jokes constantly. And even when there's supposed to be a big emotional moment to keep Po going and learn his lesson, it's just undermined by some really dumbass jokes. And I'm not saying the humour was bad. In fact, for the most part, I thought the humour was pretty good. I found myself laughing a lot of times during the film. But the problem is, it just kept going and going. And there was just some moments where I was like, why are we adding in jokes? So if the characters aren't taking this threat seriously, then why should I? You know, it just made it hard to care, really, unfortunately. It just feels like one of those unimportant episodes in the Legends of Awesomeness show, where, okay, doesn't really have any big things, and nothing drastic, but it's fun, you can't really take it seriously. This movie felt like an elongated episode of that, but the problem is, this is supposed to be the 4th entry in one of the biggest animated franchises ever. So if I don't care about this, then you've just ruined the movie's story, unfortunately. And the story's just not helped by the characters. First off, Zhen, the new character that Awkwafina plays. Her development was okay, but by the end of the film, I can't help but say that I felt absolutely nothing. Her development was so unimpactful that I honestly, it was just crazy. By the end, she's now the new Dragon Warrior. And the only thing that she goes through is that she was a thief and something else, but I'm not going to say because it's a huge spoiler, but that's it really. It took Poe 3 movies to fully become the Dragon Warrior. With this film, they feel that 90 minutes for a character that we've just met, who has hardly done anything really, apart from stop stealing and choosing the right way, the right path, is worthy of the Dragon Warrior. I'm sorry, but no, just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. Also, just as a quick side note, they tried to do a twist with Zhen in the film, and it's the most obvious thing from the start. As soon as she mentioned the line, I was like, yeah. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen the film, but yeah. It was just a really terribly done twist. And the way this movie handles the other characters, apart from Poe and Shifu, those ones are fairly done untouched and well. It's just baffling. Like, there's this whole subplot with Poe's fathers where they try to go and find him because they're worried about their son. And every time this plot was on screen, the movie just completely stopped. Don't get me wrong, I love Poe's fathers. They are really funny. But I do not need an entire subplot about them. It's just there to extend the runtime and add some jokes. The most they do for the story is give Poe a pep talk right near the start of the third act. And that's it. That is literally it. You could cut out this whole subplot and nothing would change. Why did... Just cut this out and focus more on giving Shen a more better character arc. But my biggest problem with this movie is that it kind of undermines and ruins a lot of what came before it. And this is mainly with the older villains. They kept marketing that all the older villains are returning. Spoiler alert, Ian McShane is the only returning voice actor for the villains. Shen and Kai, they're in it for like a minute and that's it. That is it. Even Tai Lung doesn't really do anything. So, kind of just fake marketing really, unfortunately. But they really do ruin the villains, the older villains really. The fact that Tai Lung respects Poe at the end of this movie is just such bullcrap. I'm sorry. No. Even at the end of the first Kung Fu Panda, Tai Lung still doesn't respect him, even when Poe is giving him the whooshy finger hold.
You're just a big, fat panda.
I'm not a big fat panda.
I'm the big fat panda.
Because he's egotistical. But, oh no, he's defeated another Kung Fu master now. Oh, maybe he is worthy, you know, maybe he is worthy. I'm sorry, no. Tai Lung's ego is so big that he would never see Poe as worthy. Never. But where this really annoys me, because all of the villains and all of the older Kung Fu masters respect Poe now, it really annoyed me with Shen. The fact that a head nod can ruin a character is award worthy. Give the writers an award for this, for ruining a character in the least amount of time. I am sorry. Shen would not respect Poe. This peacock committed genocide against his family. This peacock killed his mother. And Poe doesn't say anything to him, by the way. And yet, just like Tai Lung and Kai from the third film, when Poe has literally obliterated his army and has him close to death, he still doesn't respect him and tries to kill him. But yeah, oh, he's just killed another Kung Fu master. Yeah, he's fine now. Absolutely shut up. That is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in this franchise.
Brother,
It's also just clear that the writers didn't really know what to do with other characters. The Furious Five are in this movie at the credits, and they say no lines whatsoever. They're not in this film. They even give a really crap excuse for why they're not in there. The only reason why I believe why they weren't in here, it is because they didn't want to pay the voice actors for them or something. I don't know. Because when watching the movie, I thought, you could have added them in. You know, there's many places where you could add them in. But no, they weren't there. And it was really annoying, really. Like, this is a Kung Fu Panda movie. How are you not putting the Furious 5 or some of the members in the Furious 5? Say what you want about 3 and how they used the Furious 5, but at least they had them in it. Now, there is many more things I want to say about this movie. In fact, maybe one day, I honestly want to do a full deep dive into this movie and why it just doesn't work for me. And I know I may be overreacting and stuff like that. I know that this is a movie specifically aimed for children, and I've got no doubt that children will find this movie fun. And that's great. You know, if you want to take your kids to this and make them have a good time, that's perfectly cool. But as a fan of Kung Fu Panda, who has watched this franchise since he was like 4 years old, I can't help but feel quite upset, really. They hype this movie up as the next defining chapter of the Kung Fu Panda franchise. It's going to change Poe's legacy and story forever. And yet it just feels like an elongated, unimportant episode of The Legends of Awesomeness TV show, just better visually. And I couldn't help but feel really disappointed by it. It also just feels like it's ruined so much of what came before it. That just feels like a fan film made by a 4-year-old who wanted to smash his action figures together. Oh, my favourite villains! Fight, fight, fight! That's basically what it felt like. It felt like it was just made by a 4-year-old. Not a person who wants to take good care of this franchise. Again, I don't think this movie's terrible. Visually, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a well-directed movie, apart from the audio. Voice acting, all pretty great. And I like the story idea. I think it's a good direction to take the franchise. But they did not do that idea well whatsoever. And in essence, they've kind of ruined many things about the franchise for me. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 is the most disappointing movie of 2024 so far for me. As a huge fan of this franchise since he was young, it's just really upset me how they did this movie, unfortunately. If you have kids, they'll have a good time with this one. So if you want to take the kids to the cinema to watch a fun film, they'll enjoy it, 100%. Of course they will. But if you're a big Kung Fu Panda fan who loves everything about this franchise, I wouldn't suggest it to you, really. You'll be really pissed off, I think. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Kung Fu Panda 4, coincidentally, a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. Yeah, this one really annoyed me. And yeah, guys, that is it for the end of this double review. I say double review. It was like 3 minutes of Godzilla X Kong and then about 20 minutes of Kung Fu Panda 4. I've been recording for half an hour nearly, by the way. That's how long I've been ranting about Kung Fu Panda 4. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have seen any of these films, let me know your thoughts on them. Did you enjoy them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.
Everybody is